name's Hugh Nivision. I'm Managing Director of the Agricultural Business Research Institute in Australia, ABRI. And I'm here to talk a bit about a slightly different topic today. We've focused a fair bit on seed stock, and this is more about commercial cattlemen and what we can do for them, leveraging on some of the advances that we've made recently in genomics in particular. And so while we're just talking about how we add phenotypes to genotypes to make sure that they remain key, this is about just doing genomic selection for, well, not so much selection, but information gathering at commercial cattle level. Just as a bit of a reminder, breed plan is not very well known in North America, although we do have some clients in this continent. But it is a very widely used beef genetic evaluation system throughout the world. North and South America, UK, Europe, Southern Africa, and of course Australia, New Zealand, where it all started. Started in the late 70s, early 80s, I think, and then just progressed on since then. And we're based out of the University of New England in Arndale. Obviously, like most genetic evaluations, the focus is on the seed stock sector. And like most of them, we started with that blood analysis that involved pedigree and phenotypes. But we certainly have launched single-step evaluations, starting off with the Australian Brahman, or more an Australasian and Southern African Brahman evaluation that happened in 2017. Slightly different to some of the analysis used here. We run a lot of different analyses, use about 100 different breed associations that participate in those evaluations, and we run about 64 separate evaluations. So obviously a lot of them are multi-country, none of them are currently multi-breed. But of course, like all the genetic evaluations, the people participating in there sort of fairly instrumentally in driving genetic gain globally. But that's the seed stock sector. And so for the commercial cattlemen out there, currently it really helps them buy good bulls. And so if they've got a good idea about what their breeding goals are and where they want to try and get their herd, and they've identified a good seed stock supplier, they can make significant changes by buying the right bulls. And that's what these genetic evaluations do. But there's a whole other bit of the genetic picture that not necessarily getting, and that's the stuff around the females. And the current barrier to entry for commercial producers participating in full-blown genetic evaluations primarily around the complexity of the number of traits and requirements for birth dates, for example, and pedigrees and all that other stuff that goes on in submitting data into a full-blown seed stock commercial seed stock genetic evaluation, which means you tend to get sort of some biased selection decisions depending on, obviously, what your sort of breeding season is like. If it's 2 cycles, 3 cycles, 4 cycles, or all year round, like some breeders in the north of Australia do, it becomes very hard to compare cohorts of females when you're trying to select them for replacement females, which means guesswork, picking the fattest, heaviest, whatever might be the way it goes, rather than necessarily finding best genetic heifer as part of your selection for replacement females. There's also the problem that interpreting data can be a bit of an issue for breeders who've got a lot of other things on their plates. And so the breed plan select has been aimed at really filling that need for the commercial rancher to complete that genetic picture around what they're trying to do with their herd. And so it's all based on a low density DNA test, and allows to make selection decisions on whether you're looking at carcass growth, fertility, or whatever other traits that are important in your selection and production system. So as I said earlier, we are still running single breed genetic evaluations, and we're launching this year in conjunction with Heritage Australia and Nivision as the first product, and it'll be it's available in single step breeds that we're providing evaluations for. So really where we're trying to go here, just explaining how it works, it's leveraging off the breed bank system. In the seed stock sector, obviously you're going to have your pedigree like you've always had, your phenotypes like you've always had, adding genomic data through the breed bank evaluation system, getting your EPVs, EPDs, as usual. What this system is allowing us to do is leveraging off that system. Currently, obviously, with purebreds, so a commercial producer, takes a DNA sample, puts it into the system, uses prediction equations that are coming out of the breed bank system, ending up with what we call derived genomic values, DGVs, which are going to help them rank those females accurately on their genetic value, not just how good they look in the paddock, which is going to help them make those selection decisions. We are working on the data display at the moment, so these are giving you some indications of what we're going to try and provide through to our commercial producers. Give them some idea about where they fit. So if you look at these, those sort of graphs, there's a bit of a search with what you might get there. Those pointers are designed to give people indications of where that individual animal that you've selected looks at with a number, how it fits within their herd, and how it fits within the whole breed. So they can make they get some indication of what they're looking like. We also are planning on incorporating an index value in there, depending on what the breeder will select as their most relevant, dollar index value that's going to make the most advantageous move in the direction for them. Obviously, if you click into one of those breeds, we've got the individual traits behind them there, and again, displaying them in a similar way. I was just going to point out that there is a base carving EBV in there, which is sort of partly fully integrated into the breed plan, with some interesting discussions around days carving EBVs or EPDs earlier today. Certainly Northern Australia has had an enormous issue with fertility traits, primarily because of the climatic variation we get up there. And basic carving is now become a pretty important EBV for those producers in the north. So the way we would like to get producers to use these is get some idea of what their animals look like, what their herd looks like, and how it compares with the breed as a whole. Then you can start making some important ranking decisions based on the information about the heifers that you either want to keep or want to discard, whichever way you want to look at it. Then when you start getting some further information about what your herd looks like and what your breeding objective is, you can make some decisions around where you'd like to go with bull selection. And so here's a bit of a mock-up of what you might look like. So if your herd is that cloud in pink there with the various EPDs, you might want to choose one of these bulls and see how their EPDs overlay. So if you've got a bit of a gap there, one of those traits, it's on the mature cow weight, I looked at that one, you might choose a bull that's going to help you in that situation and help you meet your breeding objective. So, but the plan behind this is, not only can you help make some culling decisions, you might then actually do some bull selection decisions, particularly as we were talking around earlier about, whether you're terminal or maternal, however you go. Obviously, currently limited to single breeds at the moment, but we are looking forward to having more than that at the moment. I'll just go back to that one. So I think this is going to give us a really valuable tool for commercial producers to try and make it reasonably simple as we go along. We think they'll find that reasonably sort of intuitive to use, and most importantly, we think it's going to help them make well-informed selection decisions around which heifers they should be keeping in their herd, rather than making a bit of guesswork like I tend to do at the moment. I realise that's reasonably short, but as we said, I'm standing between you and Hugh, and I don't want to do that for too long, but I'm very happy to take any questions. I would like to acknowledge Professor Steve Miller, who was meant to be here originally when we planned this at ABRI. Most of you, or a lot of you, would know Steve. A bit of travel over the COVID, I think, stopped him being able to be available. ABRI has certainly been very helpful in developing ways to make this happen. And obviously, like to acknowledge our partners, Heritage Australia and Nivision in developing this product. We look forward to making it available. I'm very happy to take any questions on what we're trying to do.